ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Yoga Vasista comes with certain basic prayers like Shanti Mantra to start with. So one of the Shanti Mantras is very powerful, good one. So I thought let's start with that. You just repeat after me. Divi bhumau tatha kashe भूमौ तथा काशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्य विभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So let's take the study on Yoga Vasista. The original text of Yoga Vasista is 36,000 shlokas. It's a huge text. And there is an abridged version which has got around 10,000, 12,000 sutras that are there. And further abridged version, that what we have is this essence of Yoga Vasista. It is also known as Laghu Yoga Vasista. So therefore we try to base this particular series on this Laghu Yoga Vasista or the essence Yoga Vasista, because this is a good English translation also that is there for us to conveniently that is there. Now, of the various texts on yoga, one of the very important texts I would consider it is this Yoga Vasista. Let me try to compare these three basic yoga texts that are there. One is Bhagavad Gita, which is a basic yoga text, and then second thing is Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and third is the Yoga Vasista. Now, when you look at all these three give different definitions of yoga, and Patanjali gives the definition of yoga in the beginning itself in the second sutra, but Yoga Vasista gives the definition of yoga somewhere in between, the flow of things, then he comes out with the idea of yoga. Similarly, when you look at Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also gives on the flow of knowledge that is there. In one of the chapters, he comes with the definition of yoga. Not one definition, but several definitions of yoga. Now, interesting thing about the different definitions are that Patanjali gives as an exercise study of yoga. So therefore, his book is nothing but the philosophy of yoga that he has written. And the way that he has written the philosophy is that yoga knowledge is there already before him for several thousands of years as a way of life, as a part of our life. And then what Patanjali has given us, that he has given us the formulae for yoga. In fact, it's a very beautiful, lucid way that Patanjali talks about the inner states of mind. And that is where he describes in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, or the Yoga Darshana it is called as. Darshana is that what you experience, what you feel it. That's why it is called as Darshana. And then there are two types of Darshana which are supposed to be pairs. Like for example, Sankhya and Yoga are supposed to be pair. Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, and then Nyaya, Vaiseshika. These are the three different pairs. So out of which that why they are pairs is, one is almost like complementary to the other, or one bases itself on the other one. So that's how it takes up. And Sankhya is about the manifest world outside, whereas Yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, is what is behind the manifest world, unmanifest. When you say unmanifest, when there is nothing like manifest at all, then why are we discussing about it? It exists, but it is not manifest outside, ready to manifest, or that is what is responsible for manifest. So that's why it is called as unmanifest, and that's a huge science by itself. Therefore, I would consider that compared to Sankhya, the ideas of yoga are much more subtler and deeper, penetrating. And Patanjali has done that particular aspect of it. It's like the way that normally what I think of it is, geometry was always existing in the nature. It was always there. Nature had the way that nature is based on the geometry. Only thing is Euclid came and gave us the theorems of geometry. Like a distance between 2 points is minimum distance is always a straight line in the nature. And then Euclid has given it as a first formula saying that a line joining 2 points and they are supposed to be the least distance between the point. That became like a formula. Like that, what Patanjali has given is that already nature that is there, and what is in the nature he has given us in the form of Yoga Sutras. So, and then he says that now Sankhya is something which is outside and yoga is something which is inside. That means to say, in order to understand whatever that he has said, the states that are there within us, you need to follow certain way of understanding it, procedure. That's why he gives us a procedure called as Anushasanam. Atha Yoga Anushasanam, that's what he gives. And then he goes on giving how the mind and all those things affect. And he gives such a subtle details of mind, extraordinary, extraordinary, right up to the level that he has to take us to Swarupa, because that's what is the definition he gives, Tatha Drashtu Swarupe Avasthan. Swarupa is supposed to be Brahman and Atman. That Atman, Brahman is connected to the world outside. And this way, Atman, Brahman, it expresses itself in the form of nature outside. So this expression, change into the world outside, is called as parinama. So Patanjali very clearly gives what are the different parinamas which is resulting into the world outside. And how to withdraw from that parinama, this is what he tries to give in Yoga Sutras. And he is a scientist. A scientist has no sights, no particular goal, other than this is what it is, you follow it, you will get into that. Whereas in Arjuna's case, it is different. He was in trouble in the battlefield, suddenly got into confusion, and that confusion made him to see that I don't know what I can do, and he wants to run away from the battlefield, because that seemed to be the only solution that's available in front of him, because the whole problem that he perceives is connected with the battle. And battle he is not fighting, actually it is supposed to be, as a Kshatriya, as a warrior, he is supposed to do that. So therefore, Krishna immediately catches hold of him in the battlefield, and the whole discussion goes on in the form of yoga to put him back into the world outside. Therefore, the definition of Patanjali is different of yoga, and definition of Krishna on yoga is different. It is connected with the situation that is there. Like what Patanjali has given, Chitta Vritti Nirodha is yoga. It's a very simple, plain kind of a definition. Whereas Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, he says that yoga is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, success or failure, Labha Labho, Jaya Jayo. In all those cases, you have to be able to see it in an equanimous way. That's what is yoga, Krishna gives. Another thing is yoga karma kaushalam. You get back into the activity, and that's what is the idea. Running away from the battlefield is not what yoga is. Sitting for meditation is not yoga. It is something that you have to create a balance between the activity and then the rest that is there. But it's a purpose behind it. So Arjuna's real duty that is there are supposed to be responsibility. He wants to make him to take up that particular thing. This is what is the whole definition is directed towards that. Yoga karma kaushalam and samatvam yoga uchyate, all these definitions. Whereas in the case of Rama, it's a little different kind of a thing, because Rama is not in the battlefield, he is not facing any battle, And he is not looking for any definition of yoga or something like that, like the way Patanjali puts it. But it's a very strange circumstances. So therefore, the way that Rama's dialogue with Vasishta, which takes us to this yoga, whole science of yoga, it runs to 36,000 sutras. It must be an extraordinary, wonderful treatise that he has given about yoga. Why such an extraordinary thing had become necessary for Rama? To understand that, we need to go to a little bit into Ramayana. Actually, the situation which resulted into Yoga Vasistha. And another thing is that Rama was there with Vasistha for almost like 15 years, 16 years. He was a student of Vasistha. And then he learned so many things from Vasistha, and Arundhati was there. Not only Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, everybody was there. And all these people were there, all these people were learning, everything was there. Over, and then they finished their training and then came out. After training and everything, when they came out, that is when the whole situation started. Now, the situation is very beautiful. He had everything riches in his life, whatever that he would like to have it. He could afford it. He was a prince. And not only that, he was recently has been also coronated or ready to be coronated. So the situation was actually the discussion went on. No, now Rama is complete, full. So therefore, he is ready for coronation. That discussion was yet about to start. It was at that moment Vasishta comes to Rama, Vishwamitra comes to Dasharatha, and then he says that please send this young man Rama with me because I am doing some yaga yajna. He need to have I need to have a protection for this yaga. I need his hands. And then Dasharatha wants to avoid the situation genuinely. It's not that, no, he's too young, too small, and all that. He cannot face all the demons and rakshasas and all that. I will come with you because I'm trained, I'm experienced, and I come with my army, take care of all those things. See that the dialogue clearly shows one thing that Vishwamitra is aiming something different for Rama, and Dasharatha is understanding something different from Rama. Dasharatha is looking at only that particular problem at that moment, that Vishwamitra is doing some yaga and then to protection that. But Vishwamitra's idea is not that. It is much more deeper. But then he doesn't say that. He says, okay, no, I insist that Rama should come with me. Then the real situation comes out, saying that, no, these days Rama, I see him is most of the time melancholy. He doesn't enjoy the group. Somehow he feels depressed. He is not interested in anything. So therefore, I think mentally, psychologically, he may not be all right. So therefore, spare him. Why he is not all right? What is there to depress about him? Because he has everything that is there. Then let's talk to him, dialogue with him. So that dialogue starts. And in the dialogue, Rama says that, look, I have everything now. And whatever that I want, it is there. And I see this continues for a whole lifetime. See, I am a prince. That means if I am an ordinary person, then I can aspire for becoming a prince. But then I am a prince already. There is nothing that I can aspire. And whatever that I want, everything is available. And I see that nothing really enthuses me now. Because I don't see anything novel, new. Life goes on. Whether I am now 18 years, tomorrow I'll be 20 years, then 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Life just goes on like that. So there seem to be, I don't see any excitement in life, anything which motivates me in life. And once I die, death takes over me. Like everybody else is dying, I also die. Even the death does not enthuse me. I don't have any interest in the death also. So what should I do? So therefore, you have any solution for that? You see, this particular end, this is only the spiritual end of a person. That's why we have various other texts in Sanskrit, starting with the idea athato bhaktim vyakhyāsyama, athah yoga anushasanam, Athato, Brahma Jignasa. Look at all these things. Supposed to be very deep spiritual text always start with Athato. And there, Ataha, when they talk about it, now therefore, which means basically it's a text which follows already some knowledge, discussion, life, everything, and after that, this particular text follows. Which means to say that, in fact, somebody writes that when I first read Brahma Sutra, Atato Brahma Jignasa, when I read it, I thought that there must be some other book that is there. It's a continuation of that book. I might have missed that book. What is the first volume of that? Like, for example, Old Testament and New Testament, like that. Is there anything before this Brahma Sutra Bhasha? He said, no. It only gives an idea of preparedness. See, this is what we say, Adhikarita. This is the Adhikarita Sloka, Adhikarita Sutra. That is, you have already looked at so many things, you have experienced so many things, in search of something, and then you have not got it. Therefore, as an ultimate final step, there is nothing else that is left. Therefore, you have come to this text. Like, for example, I want to be happy, I want to be satisfied, I want to be contented. For that, I went on going various pursuits. So I did all that pursuits, everything I did it. But in spite of all those things, that I did not get the goal. Yeah, it's a very common sense that we think of. Money will give me happiness, so we go on getting money, pursuing money. Whatever that is necessary for getting the money, yes, we go in that education, in that direction. But after finishing the education, direct all those things, then finally get into the job and got the money. Now look at the way. Now you got the money, you're finished? No. Now the pursuit starts something else, saying that, yeah, money is okay, but all right, but in the same office where we work, look at somebody else is getting much better than I get it. So now the journey starts in some different direction. But always the goal is the same. That's what is, I want to be happy for that reason. Suddenly you find out somebody who does not even look for money for happiness or look for anything. You'll be surprised. How is that somebody can be there wanting to, doesn't want to have money? I mean, what is this? He is surprised. So, there is some pursuit that's going on, something that's going on, thinking that life gives that, and then you do not get it, therefore you come out of it. So, you are very sure that it's not going to give it. Similar example that we have, Rama is not the only person who is a king who has everything. But we have a similar example in our culture itself. That is Buddha. He was also a king, a huge kingdom that was there. The whole of Bihar was supposed to be his kingdom, Mithila. I mean, not today's Bihar. I mean, those days Bihar was much better. But with all those things, richest place, it was the, Ganges, lower plains of Ganges, that's where the Bihar is there. Supposed to be the most fertile land, even till today. So it's like that. Such a place he had, wealthy place, everything. But look at the way he gave up the kingdom and then he went out, did not want it. So that means to say, what is that happened to him? That means whatever that he was pursuing, he was trying to look for. He says that this will kingdom and all that will not give him. In fact, he says, when, that his charioteer, the night when he said, you drop me there, and then he got down from the chariot and said, you go back. Then he said, but I have to take you back. I said, no, I'm not coming, you go back. And then he says that, but palace, why don't you want to come to palace? Buddha says that, you look at the palace, but for me, the palace is burning. The expression that he uses, the palace is burning. So I go into the... If you closely understand that whatever that he used, Buddha used, Siddhartha used, the idea is, look at what is that. In the life, the last point that we reach is this graveyard where your body is burnt. So your journey towards that, whether you are in the palace or you are on the street, anywhere that you are, that's what is the journey. If there is no other journey other than just going to the graveyard, that's what palace is trying to do for me. I've got everything. But then that question, what is the purpose of living, what is the way our life is there, it's not there with him. That is where the question of Athato enters into the life of Buddha. Buddha come to that. Not only Buddha, we have the whole of Tirthankaras. They are all in that state. They were all kings. Mahavir is also another king in that area. But then he was also very young, 25 years. And then he got into the same kind of problem. So this problem, getting into the idea that the pursuit of life is not enough with the help of only having the wealth. That's what Rama arrives at. Therefore, he says that there's no point in living, there's no point in dying, because after all, you see, we always say the idea of birth, life and death situation. Actually, life and death, they are not the pair. The pair is birth and death. Birth is connected with the death. Life is not connected with the death. So life is something which is in between birth and death. And we consider that between the birth and death there is what is life. But then when the death itself does not touch the life, then death does not affect the life. Life should continue. Life should be continuing. If not in this particular position, place, somewhere else in this forum, some other forum, it will continue. So whatever that between the life, birth and death that is there, that's what is we consider as reality. And we know out of this reality, birth has already happened. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been here. So now, then if one thing has happened, the other thing is definitely has to happen one day or the other. So we have to be ready for that. That's the only thing. Are we ready for? That's where basically the question comes. Are we really ready for that? Am I facing that? We feel that everybody else dies, only I will live. Arey, he also dies, she also dies, that also. What will I do? I said, look, before all those people, you die. Because you're older than all these people. So there's more chances for you to die. So that we don't consider that we die. Fortunately, we don't consider. That's the reason we are happy, we are living comfortably. And the fellow in the hospital may be doing in the terminal cancer. That means there is no hope for him. But the next bed was also another terminal cancer, and then he gone. Poor fellow is gone. But what about you? You don't have any better alternative to do. And this is how we just are in a stage where we hypnotize ourselves that death does not come to us. In fact, that's what Lawrence, he in his poem he writes that every bell that rings in the church, whenever somebody dies in the body, that the toll in the bell in the church, every toll in the church is not saying that somebody has died in the city, but it reminds you that you will also die one day. The bell can ring for you also one day. That's what is the way that D.K. Lawrence he expresses about that. But then in spite of it, we sing, we are comfortable anyway, so we are happy. But then some people get this idea. So Rama's worry was that, what am I doing? I am depressed because I don't see anybody doing anything other than just living. And even that living, when I look at anybody else, I'm supposed to living much more luxuriously. However luxurious that I might live, however great pomp and show that I live, but one day I'll be the same as everybody else goes away. The same thing happens to me. So this is what is Rama's anxiety. Now, why Rama's anxiety is much more than anybody else's anxiety is the purpose for which that Rama has come. See, Krishna's purpose is only to see that he conveys Mahabharata, he conveys Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata war takes place, and he re-establishes Dharma. That's the only simple thing Krishna's idea is. That's what when he went to the training at Sandipani's ashram, exactly that was the discussion goes on. Sandipani says to Krishna saying that, look, you have come here, you made he says, look, you are a nutcut, that means you always played drama. You always, everywhere that you create an act, a drama. And then you did that drama also, that learning from me. And then finished. And then I also played the drama that I also taught you. I'm the teacher, you are a student. But you know what? That's not it. I know that you have come with a purpose. It's not a simple thing. Yes, Krishna also says, but whatever may be, you are my guru. And then I need your help. Is it Krishna? What is the help that you need? In fact, if I help you, it is actually I helping myself. But then I can give you some clue. And what is that? You know, the purpose of your life is to re-establish dharma. And what is the way that you are established dharma? You need some support, kingdom, people, and all that. And you already started that in your life. Like, for example, younger days that you killed that fellow, you killed that fellow, you killed Kamsa. All these things are part of re-establishing dharma. But then you need a structure, you need a kingdom, you need a king. So therefore, Kunti's children are the people who are ready to do it. That's Pandavas. Pandavas did not die. You know it, I know it. Now your job is to bring out that Pandavas. From there your whole journey starts. So if you look at Krishna, the Mahabharata, really Krishna's role of Mahabharata started with bringing the Pandavas out of their exile into the life and then bringing back into the life, and then the whole thing started. So that's how re-establishing dharma. That's one of the reasons why this particular yuga started with Mahabharata war. So therefore our calendar is readjusted on the Mahabharata war. On the day the war started, that is when we started our calendar refreshed. So that means one yuga is created by Mahabharata war, Krishna's role. Like that, another huge yuga is being created by Rama, Treta Yuga. See, that was the particular role that Rama had to play. It is a huge role Rama had to play, very big role. And Krishna's role itself we see complicated. You see that how many complications occur. Particularly not the other people who did the complications. All the complications were brought about by Pandavas. These people only take a vow. Krishna says, why didn't you take a vow? You'd have asked me before taking a vow. Like that. So there are so many complications that occurred in the Mahabharata time. Till the last point, like Duryodhana came out of water, and then Yudhishthira at that time, he said, you choose anybody to fight. Krishna, his boss, what is this nonsense? Anybody you choose? Or if he chooses that Arjuna, he'll be lost. Poor fellow, he chose Bhima, so Bhima could vanquish him. There is some reason for that. But anyway, we are safe like that. At every point of time that he had to create that kind of situation, at every point of time. Rama's is not that play. Because, Krishna, we know, is somebody who can play all kinds of politics. Rama is very plain, very simple, very straightforward. And then he had to give such an extraordinary, wonderful, the story of his being there to create the whole kind of thing. That particular sutra that Rama has come to create a particular situation is given by one sutra after after Rama spent his time with Vasishta, that means after Yogavasista, the whole teaching that was there in Yogavasista. After that, when he goes with Vishwamitra, and then by then he is prepared to go with Vishwamitra to start his life. And that going to Vishwamitra, he was prepared for that, very similar to Krishna convincing Arjuna, Arjuna prepared to go for war. There's such a beautiful similarity that is Nashto Mohaha, Gate Bhamshaha, Buddhinasha, all those things. Smritir Labdhva, Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta, Stitosmigata Sandeha, Karishye Vachanam Tama. This is what is the way that Arjuna says to Krishna at the end of whole of Bhagavad Gita. That means to say, what he started the journey, my hands are shaking, legs are shaking, I am caught up in this delusion, I don't know what to do it, and I am confused, all those things he says. And at the end of whole of Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, and that's what is the 73rd sutra, Arjuna says to Krishna, Nashto mohaha, my moha is completely gone, and then Smritir Labdhva. Now I can see very clearly my memory has come back. Memory means whatever that I am supposed to do it, my purpose of life, all those things have come. And Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta, Tat Prasadan. by your teaching, that's what, by your enlightening me, that I got these things. Hey Achyuta. In fact, that every word that he uses is so beautiful, where Krishna's name has been used in so many ways in so many places. But here Achyuta, that means to say, once you hold on to Krishna, there is no chuti. That means there is no slippage. It's absolutely clear. So, Tvat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sthitosmi Gata Sandeha. I am now established Gata Sandeha. Now I am free from all the doubts and everything is Karishye Vachanam. You see, if Krishna's purpose of Arjuna is just only to establish him to fight the war, it's a very important psychological position. If Krishna's position is just only to make Arjuna to fight the war, then he wouldn't have spent 700 shlokas. In fact, it's so easy to provoke Arjuna, saying that what is, because he is a Kshatriya and he is Rajasic. For a Rajasic man, Kshatriya, you can enrage him saying that, look what happened to Draupadi. I mean, that fellow has removed her sari, and this, what happened to this, what happened. You spent one whole year conducting dance for this place, became Brahannala. Look at your such an extraordinary, wonderful brother, Valala, and he was cooking the food for the people. What kind of life it is? And this is what, because of these bad doings or whatever that they have done, Kauravas. So, all these things, if you say, actually, he would have been really enraged. He would have become emotional. Emotionally, you can stir him very easily and then make him to fight the war. But that was not the purpose. The whole purpose is come out of emotions, get into the wisdom. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is not playing with his emotions, but to bring about his wisdom. So that's why 700 shlokas had to be spent. You see, if you look at ordinary case, small little simple thing that if the Chinese are fighting with war, or some small little thing that happened by Indian army and something happened, look at the way all the TVs and radio and everything talks about all those patriotic songs. Wow, people have to do this, you have to do this. And after all, 4 days later, we forget about all those things. But anyway, that's how they try to do that. They try to enrich the whole emotion of the people, stir them, and then see that. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, in the beginning, whatever that emotions are stirred, he uses all those expressions actually in the war field. Otherwise, in Bhagavad Gita, most of the people skip this first chapter because first chapter describes about all the instruments that are used in musical instruments that are used in war. Panavanaka, Gomukaha, the drums and this and that, or all those things which are used, which even our army uses. The army does not use a veena, violin, etc. These are all the things which are for the Sringara Rasa, not for the fight. For fight, yes, you have to have those things. They are all explained there. With all those things, actually, your emotion of fighting the war is stirred. In fact, this gets into psychology of the army so much. I was watching one of the Kargil war, these things, and then early morning breakfast, before breakfast, because they have to go for one round, and all our Air Force people, they go for a round and then come before breakfast. They say, hey, come on, I had my chai, so let me go and finish and then come back before breakfast, and then the people are waiting, and then he comes back. So what's the score today? Yeah, 5 people have finished. And he's having breakfast. Whereas you read that in the newspaper, 5 people died in the war field. You cannot have breakfast. Because war brings that kind of an emotion within you, that the death is not something which is very important for that. Score. What is the score? They call it a score, How many goals you have hit in the football field. How many runs you scored in the cricket field. I mean, look at the way emotions are stirred. In Pakistan, they break the TVs because that emotions are so heavy. So, if emotion has to be stirred, Krishna need not have spent about 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, very easy. But then he had to bring about the wisdom. That's what is there. The same thing when you look at Rama's, it's not for the sake of fighting the war. It's a different kind of emotion that has to be brought. But the same thing is that Rama's delusion nor the depression, despondency has to be removed. In fact, one is that the Arjuna's is a depression and Rama's is a despondency. Arjuna's is a case where that he is going to kill his own people. Makes you feel depressed because you are the cause for their death. Whereas Rama's case is not despondency because depression because he doesn't have any of these things. In fact, there is nothing like a mission in his life, in his head. All that he has is that what is the purpose of life? That is the confusion that he has. Why am I living? Why I have to die? These are the questions that was there. Stitosmi gata sandehaha. This is what is Rama's expression at the end of whole of Yoga Vasishtha. He says, Stitosmi gata sandehaha. My sandeha, my doubts are all gone. And swabhave brahmarupini. Wow, that's a very beautiful trait. By nature, I'm the Brahman. I'm the Brahman, Brahmarupini. Niravarana Vijnana. Avarana Vijnana, Avarana is now confusion. Avarana is cloud. Now Niravarana Vijnana Karishye Vachanantava. Wow, what a beautiful way. That means to say all the confusions in mind is gone, and then that my Swarupa is Brahma. So now we can see that the whole of Bhagavad Gita goal is to see that Arjuna fights the war. He understands the situation, responsibility, role, and then he fights the war. But Rama's condition is that he understands he is the Brahmarupa, he is the divinity. And it is the whole journey towards that divinity, and for that he is prepared for that. So that means if you look at Arjuna's role for which Bhagavad Gita is used is so much, whereas Rama's role, Yoga Vasishtha, is so much. Therefore, you can think of extent of Yoga Vasishtha. What is the reach of Yoga Vasishtha? Probably the whole of Bhagavad Gita can be one little chapter in the teachings of Yoga Vasishtha. And that's why 36,000 shlokas. There are so many repetitions that are there to say that you are Brahmarupi. Because he has to be established that, convincing him in that particular region. So that's why it becomes something which is extraordinary. And to show this whole thing is towards that purpose. The story of Ramayana, when you go to Vasishtha finishes the teaching, and then Vishwamitra comes and takes Rama, and then they go to the forest, and then Vishwamitra shows that this is where Yajna, Yaga, all these things are happening. Maricha, Subahu, Tataki, these are the Rakshasas who come and disturb my Yaga Yajna. It's a very small little point. It's like the way that a match head that can burn the whole forest. It is that small little simple thing. That to a lady like Tataki, people like Maricha, Subahu, and it is supposed to be taken care of. But don't worry, tonight, let us sleep nicely tonight. Tomorrow, let us start. And the next day, the starting point is very beautifully picturized in Ramayana. Ramayana does not go to this detail, whatever the discussion is there, because there is an intellectual aspect of it. So that he did not go into it. But then the next step, when Rama has to be gotten up, Vishwamitra comes to Rama and wakes him up. And that waking him up tells the whole philosophy behind it. He says, Uttishtata Jagra, Uttishtottishta Govinda, Uttishta Garudadvaja, Kausalya Supraja Rama, Purva Sandhya Pravardate, Uttishta Narashardula Kartavya Taiva Mantikam. Actually, it goes with that second shloka that I said, Uttishta Govinda, Uttishta Garudadvaja. That's adapted by Venkateshwara Suprabhatam. But the first shloka of this Venkateshwara Suprabhatam is written by Valmiki, and that is where this starting of Rama's journey starts. So that shloka, why Venkateshwara Suprabhatam used it is because it is the Vishnu Swarupa, and he has come to establish the whole Brahmarupi of the human being. That's what is the way Rama comes into the picture. So therefore, it says Kausalya Supraja Rama. You see, every word there actually conveys that. He is not an ordinary person. He is born to a person called Kausalya. That means Kausalya is, Kushala we say is somebody who is efficient. And Kausalya is in all, whatever that you can conceive, you can feel the idea, you can, everywhere she is supposed to be that ultimate in the perfection, and that's what is Kausalya. And out of Kausalya also, he is an extraordinary, wonderful child, Supraja Rama. In fact, even the name, even the way that he is born, if you go back into the whole Ramayana, it shows that what a lot of preparation has been done for Rama to come. Like a very simple thing, Modi's visit to our place, 6 months of preparation of security, these, that, so many people and all those people. Suddenly I see somebody came to Prashanti looking at some details. Why? It's for the Modi's visit. That means how much of paraphernalia has to be created. That's why for Rama's visit, such a huge paraphernalia has taken place. Look at any role of Ramayana that is there in case of Rama is connected with some other force in the nature or the other, some or the other force in the nature. Everybody comes there, everybody prepares for that. So therefore, and then he is not so easily born. He is not born at all for such a long time. And then with lot of yajna, yaga, and putra kameshti yaga, all those things you have to do it. And then he is born. Rama is born. So therefore, is Supraja Rama. And then actually, Rama was not the first person who has that name. But actually, before that, we know that Rama was a commonly used name, Bhargava Rama, and he was also there earlier. Apart from that, there were other Ramas also who were there in the Purana. But why his name Rama was, in fact, he says that his name can be only Rama. The other's name can be something different, but his name should be Rama. That's what pronounced by even the Rishi who came, that's he came all the way from the hill, Risheshringa Muni. He gave the name, son will be born and his name will be Rama. You can't have any other name. So Kausalya Suprajaram, specially he selected, specially given, specially prepared for that. Hey Kausalya Suprajarama Purva Sandhya Pravardate. That means to say now the sun is rising at the east. Sun rises in the east means basically now the day starts. Somewhere there is always night and this day has to start. And that is in your hands. Kausalya Suprajarama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashardula. You are a tiger in front of men. In the men that you are the tiger. That means there is no looking back that you started. Kartamyam Daiva Manhikam. This Anvikam is a very beautiful word. That means to say, in Yajna, that you just offer, whatever that you give. That's what is called as Anhikam, that giving, offering. So now, Daiva Manhikam, that means in the case of Yajna, that you are offering yourself. That means it's the beginning of the start of this whole journey of Daiva Manhikam. And from then, he woke up Rama. Vishwamitra woke up Rama. And his name is also Vishwamitra. He is a friend of universe. He is a friend of the whole thing. And he has given us a Gayatri mantra. And he woke up Rama in the sense that he says that now your journey starts. So actually it starts with a small little warm-up. That warm-up is Maricha, Subahu and all those things. But then that's not sufficient. He has to have now Sita is together with that. So therefore the Sita's journey starts. Rama met Sita. Actually, we call it as Ramayana. Valmiki doesn't call it as Ramayana. That's what I gave it in my note also. That Valmiki says, Sitaya's Charitam Mama. That means I am now describing Sita's story. It looks like Sita's story. And then Rama is somebody who is the hero there. There is a big meaning behind it, big idea behind it. That means to say, Rama's advent in this is to see that this life, normal day-to-day life, is something which is protected, which is taken care of. For that he has come. And then when you look at all the events are designed in such a way that Rama attends to these things. That's why all the events that are there. Now you look at Rama's whole purpose of life, the beauty of life that is there, and for achieving that, all these events that happened in the Rama's life, beginning to the end of it, and so complex and complicated. Compared to the Rama's life complexity and complication that is there, it's very difficult to create. You see, it's very easy to write a case of Krishna because you can always have a bunch of bad guys, bunch of good guys, then you can do that. That's very easy. You can write the whole thing. That's what all the formula pictures and formula TV serials. You can see that there is some bad guy there. Either a hairdress you can see that, or the way that appears and all that. But here you are handling something in between such extraordinary people. Dasharatha is extraordinary, Sumanta is extraordinary. All the brothers, everybody is something which is so wonderful, including Manthara. And you have to handle the whole situation. So difficult, so subtle. And in order to deal with that kind of a situation, we need to have somebody like Rama. And the training Rama gets it. In the case of that, everybody is nothing but Brahman. And that's what is the idea that Yogavasista gives us. Yogavasista is such an extraordinary, wonderful journey. And of course, we may not go through probably all these sutras that are definitely not our 36,000 sutras, but even in these sutras that we might go very few of them very clearly. Let me start with some very simple idea. Divi bhumau tathakasho bahihi antaschame vibhu yo vibhat yavabhasatma tasmai sarvatmane namaha. Bhum, whatever that he is created, this particular bhumi, and divi, that means to say the other world, and also akasha, that means the whole space. Tathakashe bahihi antaschame vibhu. One for whose sake all these things are created, everything is there. Yo vibhati avabhasatma. Whatever that shines, whatever that you perceive, tasmai sarvatmane namaha. Such a sarvatma, I offer my prayers. Now, say the aspect of it, you have eyes to see, but who is seeing through the eyes if you look at it? It's not that you, it is the same consciousness which is seeing through the eyes. Ears are there as an instrument, and there are filters, this and that, all those things are there. But finally, who hears through the ears? It is that consciousness that hears. So behind all these senses, behind everything that is there, the food that you take, you are satisfied. Who is satisfied if you look at it? It is not that the stomach is satisfied, it's not this satisfied, but satisfaction belongs to that experience, belongs to consciousness. Only thing that can experience all these things is nothing but consciousness. And when you look at that consciousness, there is no difference between your consciousness, my consciousness, there is nothing like that. There is only one consciousness that is there. And that is what is yo vibhati, that means what shines in the object outside, and what is that which is experiencing that shining is all nothing but that consciousness that is there. Yo vibhati avibhasatma tasmai sarvatmane namaha. Simple atma and sarvatma. Yeah, I'm in me. All that what experiences, what he perceives, whatever this happens is my atma, but not in you. It can't be possible. In you also it is the same thing. You might not know it. So realizing that it is the same atman which is perceiving all those things, and that atman then I recognize, this is sarvatma, or what normally we call it as paramatma. Paramatma we call it as God, but paramatma is nothing but sarvatma. For that we offer our salutations. So that means basically the whole journey, whatever that is there outside, inside, everything that manifests is nothing but Brahman. That's what is there. In fact, but it's so difficult to accept it. So difficult to agree with this particular thing. A fellow went to an ashram, sannyasi is there. And then the moment he went there, the disciples received him. And then it's afternoon, they gave him water. Thirsty because hot sun is there. Somewhere in Andhra, therefore hot sun is there. So after that, he was thirsty chicken. He's hungry. I've given him food also. Wow, that's wonderful Andhra food. He really enjoyed it. And then after the food, then slept for a little while. Also fine. When he got up, drink was ready. And then after that, night dinner was ready. And then anyway, let me go tomorrow. Why tonight? Nobody asked him to go also. So why tonight? So next day he got up. Again, everything was there. Breakfast was there, lunch was there. He took everything. Next day also, nobody told him to go out. And he's welcome everywhere with a smile that they welcomed him. Happy second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. Well, it looks like there's a nice place to stay. I don't have to go anywhere because nobody asked me to go. But then there was itching. See, after all, they are doing so much to me. I should also do something. Said, look, I'm just eating food there. I should do something. No, don't worry. God is great. You don't have to really do anything. No, no. See, I feel guilty that I am eating food, staying here, and all this. But don't worry about God's grace is there. God's grace is there. Yeah, God's grace is there, but let me also do something. So, whatever you can do it. They took him to Guru, the head of the whole thing, and then Guru said, yeah, wonderful. God's grace is there, so you stay here. No, I want to do some work also here. Yeah, you can do. God's grace is there. I'm good at tilling the land and producing something. Then sent one student, show him some land. So he took him, going on and on and on. Oh, this ashram is not small and simple thing. It has so much of land is also there. No, this is all ashram. Yeah, until that far where your eyes reach, it's all ashram's land only. No, no, you give me some one small little plot so that I can show. So which one you want? Which one? So about 2 acres, 3 acres, okay? 2 acres, 3 acres, whatever that is measured. He saw that land is something which, since the birth of the earth, nobody has touched that land as it is there. There's a good place to show what I can do. So he went and then got all the implement that is there, ashram, and started tilling the land, removing the grass, settling it out. By the time he did all those things and removed all the weeds, removed all the stones and this and that, rains came. Wow, good time, rains also came. He got the seeds from the ashram, put the seeds and all that, and then started crops growing up. Beautiful. He was so happy because the crops came so high, taller than him. And through that crops that is there, grown up, he was looking through, and then that main Swamiji was walking. He has never seen him for all these days. And he is taking an evening walk. The lady rushed to him. I said, Swamiji, pranam. Sashtanga, Dandavat pranam. Swamiji said, oh, wonderful. So where are you? You are from where? No, Swamiji, I am in this ashram only. Oh, in your ashram? Oh, God is kind. God is great. God's grace. Swamiji, you know what? I don't know whether you remember or not. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I had come to you and I asked for a land. And then your own people, they showed me this piece of land. Oh, this piece of land, God's grace. So, see, I put the seeds, I put this thing, I tilled the land and all those things. And it was like the way that it was, never touched by anybody. So I did all those things. Now the crop has come up. Yes, I see wonderful crop. God's grace. He's itching. Because he has done so much and he is saying that you have done it. I'm so happy about it. No, God's grace. Now he could not hold it. He said, Swamiji, even in the other land also God's grace is there. But look at that land and look at this land. So that means God's grace plus my grace. We always would like to keep myself as me. We do not see yo vibhatya vabhasatma tasmai sarvatmane namaha paramatmane namaha. In order to create, it's a wonderful exercise on Jnana Yoga. It's supposed to be a Jnana Sutra, but at the same time, ultimately, it leads us to that level. That's why Paramatmane Namaha, it gives us that pure form of bhakti, ideas of bhakti. That's what is the purpose of Yoga Vasista. That's the goal of Yoga Vasista. Let's look into Yoga Vasista as we go ahead. Thank you. Oh. Shanti Shanti Shanti. So any questions, anything, you can come up next week when we do it. Take up those questions. And by that time next week, we'll have also... Huh?
The books would be there. So
What is, book should be there. When you look into the books, then you can get all these ideas, whatever that is happening.
now this shloka I told now, they are using in the annals.
Using?
In annals, the advanced relaxation.
Advanced philosophy. Yeah. I mean, it's, you see...
No, advanced relaxation. Anandam is the sense. We use the same shloka in that.
Yes. Anandamrita Sinchara. That's what the advanced techniques that you have done.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing that he has said? Yeah, this
So
shloka is
that's
there.
the introductory
Devi
prayer
Bhuta.
for that.
This is the only shloka that they have taken from this yogavasista. That's what is the prayer that they have taken. But I don't know whether they have really explained about this sutra that is there. Yeah. But this is a very important sutra. Yoga Vasishta.